Hypefestation, BlizzCon, ESWC. Man, this was a jam-packed weekend, and likewise, we have a jam-packed show for you tonight. It's the 89th round of vVv Gaming's Losers Bracket podcast, and we have so many guests tonight. We have the entire vVv Gaming Gears of War team. We've got CaptnBarbosa, Beyond Gaming, helped out with the Hypefestation stream. The man. Crota was out at BlizzCon. He'll be here to talk about his experiences. Tons and tons to talk about. As always, I'm joined by Lord Jareth, Kurt from Check 6. We've got vVv Asylum here, our MOBA manager. It's going to be a great night. Gentlemen, how are you all doing? Jerry, let's start with you. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Not too bad. I'm glad that the month of October is drawing to a close, though, to be honest. There's a lot that's gone on this month. We've covered IPL. We've covered MLG Orlando. We've covered all kinds of events. This is sort of the last of this gauntlet of eSports. And I thought it concluded pretty interestingly, actually. I think everything was... ESWC was a little bit, I felt, out of place. I thought Hypefestation was much better than I expected. And I think that, if you look at what went on this weekend with BlizzCon, the news that came out of there I thought was just amazing. And I look forward to covering it all. Hopefully we can fit it all in. So, yeah. What do you think, Kurt?
It's definitely been... I'd have to agree with you. I'm kind of glad that the month of October is drawing to an end. We're slowly approaching what we in esports call the off season, which I hope is truly an off season because I could use one. But yeah, it's definitely been quite a month with, and for that matter, just quite a weekend. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that went on at BlizzCon, from amazing games to really awkward and weird games, all the way to all tons of announcements. So, Asylum, how about you, bud?
October has been an amazing month for esports, but I do agree. I'm happy to see it come to a close. These last 3-4 weeks have been an absolute overload of esports media, and I've been in love with it every single second of every single weekend that we've been able to cover this kind of stuff, but it's time for a little break. I'm going to have to agree with you guys there, most definitely.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm tired of spending money. That's my story. Kurt, what about you?
I would say that has something to do with it.
I got one more event. If I make it through November, right, then yeah. I'm good. We're good.
Yeah, just all I got's another month or two, and I'm done. I'm done for a while. So
I don't know.
A little break.
You're going to be spending money on the games that are coming out later this year now, so it won't be the events, but there's still going to be some things to spend money on, so don't get too happy about that, Jerry.
I know. But I'll tell you, honestly, I do think it was almost a perfect year in very many ways. I mean, if you really look at it, we had what is this explosion of competitive gaming with StarCraft, and then a lot of surprises, League of Legends doing really well, Gears of War 3 nailing it. So, I mean, Major League Gaming should have an exciting season next year. But you know what? Before we even go there, let's talk about what happened this weekend. And let's start far away and we'll bring it closer. Let's start with ESWC and let's talk about what happened in Paris. I'm sure a lot of people, to be honest, that I know were glued to BlizzCon. Kurt, I know you were looking at ESWC. We had, I think, a lot. I mean, all the top games were there, but you had 1.6 there, you had Source there, DOTA, FIFA, and obviously StarCraft. But I'm going to let you take a first cut at it because I know you were watching this a lot more than I was. So give us some of the big highlights. And you know what, Kurt? If you have to, try to keep it brief. You can even talk about Counter-Strike if you have to.
Well, I most certainly have to, number one.
I figured as much. Go ahead.
But what I would say is you're right. I would say that, the ESWC was somewhat treated as a redheaded stepchild this weekend. It was sort of knocked down. No one really... I mean, it had plenty of people watching it. Don't get me wrong. The numbers were still pretty large, and especially in the games that you expected it to be large. 1.6, StarCraft, DOTA, were all very, very large numbers for them. So, but at the same time, I mean, BlizzCon just overshadowed it. But there was really a lot of amazing matches. I'll go ahead and start with one of the most strange matches, one of the most strange divisions that ESWC tends to have every year, and that's Counter-Strike 1.6 Women. The United States took home the title there, 2-time no less. This is their second time in a row, that team taking home a title. So they a team called UB United, but they were a team before that. They were SK Gaming Ladies for a while, and then they were something else before that too. I forgot, but really, really great ladies team anyway for 1.6. Talk about the fact that Source. This was the first time you see Source on a really major event that's been around for a while, like ESWC. A lot of people were wondering how it went.
To be fair, Kurt, though, one thing I thought that was odd is that Source had even less of a prize pool than 1.6 Women, if I'm correct. Isn't that true?
It did. Yeah, it had like $3,000 less, I think. So, which I understand, to be honest. Like to be honest, I understand. Like it's a completely new game, not a new game, but it's a new game that they're getting into. ESWC has had Counter-Strike 1.6 Women forever. Like they've had it for years and years now. So I can't necessarily blame them giving a somewhat smaller prize pool to a new game that they haven't really tested out and seen the reception of it. I do think if ESWC survives, in the sense of after this year and they keep on going, I do think Source will be on the floor next year as long as CSGO hasn't taken over or something like that.
And to be fair, you guys got as far as almost the finals, right? It was the Danish team that knocked you guys out that won in the finals, if I remember right. Is that right?
Yeah. Our team Check 6 that we ended up sending over there was fully torqued before then. Was the name of the team. They did really well. They ended up they lost to C-Cross in the semifinals, which is the team that made it to the finals, and it was they weren't there were some close games, some not so close games, but the more probably amazing story is the fact that they almost beat Very Games in the group stage. And Very Games is easily the number one Counter-Strike Source team in the world right now, and they've been that way for quite some time.
And that is a French team, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah, that's a French team. And they just ran through everyone, to be honest. The only team that even put up a fight was us in the group stages. Everyone else they just got ran over by them. So
it's safe to say that if one were to ask who is the best Source players in the world right now, we would give that to the French.
Yeah, definitely. Very Games is you can't beat them, right now. So they are definitely the team to beat. So
all right, and let's, if you don't mind, coming into 1.6, everybody was big there. All the big names were there, right? Envy was there. You had SK was there. Mouse Sports was there. The Swedes had their Lions there. So this was all SK Gaming, wasn't it?
For the most part, yeah. I mean, to me, this was always the SK's gaming tournament to lose. SK, they just came off an IAM win. They've been pretty much defeating Navi consistently now, which a lot of people find amazing because Navi was 6 months ago they were the team to beat. Like they were so good that people just thought that it was over.
To be fair, though, Navi took second, right?
Navi did take second.
So it's not like Navi's not a good team. I always feel like sometimes when a team takes second place, but you're right. It was a 2-0 win. SK Gaming beat them handedly. I agree with you that SK clearly right now is the best team.
Yeah, but one of those games, it went into either double overtime or triple overtime. It was really down to the wire in one of those games. So, and that was the last game. So yeah, I mean it was some really, really good matches. Anybody that's interested in Counter-Strike should really go back and watch those matches because really, really amazing stuff. It's very, very. To me, it was very reminiscent of some really old school games. So,
all right. With that being said, they may going back to Navi. They may be taking second, but their DOTA team again, which their DOTA team dominated the big $1 million DOTA tournament that they had. They took first again, right?
Yeah, they laid everyone out this particular tournament. There was really no no really stopping them. No stopping them. I think everyone put a lot of pressure on them from after winning the $1 million tournament, and they definitely lived up to it. I'm trying to remember. Someone said that there was a really great match, though. I'm trying to remember what match it was. That was one of the best Dota matches to date. I think it might have been Monkey versus Navi.
Okay, gotcha.
I think that's right. Monkey versus Navi. So that was in the semifinals first round. So the VODs are probably up for that. I suggest everyone to go watch that if you like MOBA titles like Dota.
All right, well, we're talking about Dota. Let's move on, bring it back over to North America, because like I said, I'd love to cover more ESWC. We've got a full night tonight. For those of you that want to know that, we've got that out of the way. Let's move over to something Dota. EG picks up a Dota 2 team. I'm not sure I expected it. As a matter of fact, I know I didn't expect it. I knew EG was not going to go back to Han. I felt that they were debating to see what League of Legends was going to do. Doesn't mean they can't also pick up a League of Legends team should they decide to. Or it could mean that, you know what, they don't feel comfortable they can get that top League of Legends team anymore, so they're going to move to Dota 2. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think to me, the decision's kind of split in the sense of it doesn't necessarily surprise me in who they picked up. It surprised me a little bit more that they picked up Dota. But at the same time, when you look at the teams left over in LOL right now, when you look at the teams that that are around, CLG, TSM, Dignitas, all those really, really top teams, CLG and TSM are fairly content unsponsored, and Dignitas is already sponsored. So it's like, yeah, how EG is. EG is looking for the best of the best, and if they can't necessarily find it in LOL, they're going to go to the next best thing. So, and they definitely found it in Dota. I mean, the fact that Fear is one of the players or the team captain of this team, and he's got this whole documentary going to be building around him through Valve, or through that Valve's actually putting on. It's pretty amazing stuff. But I want to get Asylum's opinion. I know you're definitely into all the MOBA titles. So what do you think, Asylum?
Yeah, for sure. I think EG did a good move by picking up a Dota 2 team. I would have liked to see them pick up a League team, of course, because there's always a special place in my heart for League of Legends. But you know what? Good job by EG. Looking at the roster, I mean, you couldn't pick a better team in my opinion. You have the Americans, Fear and Demon, which you just talked about. Fear, amazing, amazing player.
Yeah, Demon is no joke either, so.
Exactly. And then you have Playmate, Misery, and Patchcap, all three from Europe. They're sending them all over to China to begin a big training session with some of the best Dota teams in the world. The Chinese team, MYM, and then also Nirvana International. They're two extremely, extremely well-developed Dota teams who have been in the game for a nice long time. In my opinion, that's going to be a real good investment on EG's part. And it's just going to be amazing. I have no doubt in my mind that this Dota 2 team is going to go far.
And to be honest, to note on that about when they're sending them to China, it wouldn't surprise me at all, knowing EG and knowing what I know as far as the fact that the StarCraft players are kind of moving on and moving to Korea for a while, or a few of them are. It wouldn't surprise me at all for them to bring a lot of those players, the Dota players, into the EG house. Especially with all the content they can produce. It would not surprise me at all to see that. So I think they're definitely in it for the long haul. I think they're in it in Dota for not just the gimmick of it, and I think they're just hoping that this is going to pay off. I think they're hoping that Valve's not going to disappoint them. So, it wouldn't surprise me at all if you see, EG Dota in the EG house pretty soon. So.
Well, I don't know if when you say EG house, I don't know if there's room for a Dota team in the Arizona house per se. But
I don't know, Jerry. I mean, you got 4 players moving out?
Yeah, you got a point there. I mean, they do have that. So obviously, let's think about that. They've got 4 players moving out, heading to Korea, but we know they're going to do the contest that's going to bring in one person to train with them. Is it possible that there could be an EG house in China or an EG house in Europe? I mean, there are a lot of other things on the table.
I think it's highly possible. To me, I don't know. I don't know if they would want to put that much money into something that necessarily hasn't been tested. The waters haven't been tested yet. Because I mean, let's be honest. If we fall back on what I think is the consensus here is Dota's going to be big either way. But the problem is with Riot putting in the money they are and the time they are and the resources they are into LOL. I don't think it can necessarily compete unless Valve is doing the same thing. So if Valve doesn't do that, then EG's stuck with a China house for no reason. They don't. It's not. So I don't necessarily think they would. I
don't know. I think the China the market. To me, like that's not a bad market to be in. It's not like the Chinese are not gaming. So I mean, even if it may not necessarily be big in North America, unless there's like some magical Warcraft 4 that appears, what are the Chinese going to be playing? League, Dota, and StarCraft, possibly, some of the free-to-play games that are very popular over there. But I think we're looking at probably a strong presence from the Chinese and some other Asian countries in regards to Dota. I don't know if Dota, without Valve's strong support, will have a big impact here, or if we even care. Like, my concern is that the markets are going to get segregated, that you're going to see Dota do well internationally, but maybe not do as well in North America, and League of Legends remain strong here,
Yeah, that's definitely the one thing I worry about as well. The fact that, I do think a lot of people are going to consider Dota the better game. A lot of people still consider Dota, and even Han for that matter, to be a much harder game. So they think it might be the better game to play as a competitive game. I don't know. I'm not sure I necessarily agree that it's better as a competitive game or not, but typically, a lot of the Chinese players, they love Dota.
No, I agree with you.
So the international scene, it wouldn't surprise me at all to see it kind of splintered there. So
all right, so that brings us to, since we're talking about EG and all things North America, let's talk about the big event that we had this weekend. We are in a sort of time crunch, so I want to keep it moving. Let's go to BlizzCon. First off, Jason, we have a guest who was at BlizzCon, right? Crota's with us tonight, is that right?
Yeah, Crota should be here. Is he actually available is the question.
Crota, are you here?
I am. Can you hear me? I had double mute on my phone and on Skype.
Welcome, Crota.
Being really safe, like he's not going to take any chances. So, yeah, let's get started, Crota. You were at BlizzCon. I know you're from California. We're going to kick back for a minute. I want to hear about, what were some of your highlights? Talk to us a little bit about the event. Obviously, you are casting for StarCraft. I'm sure you paid close attention to StarCraft news, but give us a sort of like on the ground, how was BlizzCon for you?
Well, on the ground, BlizzCon was simply amazing. I think this year they had close to 27,000 people, just the press, everyone just involved. It was a great event. The lines, as you can imagine, were really long, but somehow I was able to get a press badge, and I didn't have to stand in line all too much. So I was really able to do a lot more coverage than I was in the previous years. So thank you to Blizzard, if they're listening, for giving me a press badge, and it was just a lot of fun.
What would you say is the one or two things that most surprised you? Whether it was one of the announcements regarding StarCraft, which by now I think everyone's already familiar with all the changes that are going to happen to StarCraft 2. And maybe we should just start there specifically. I'm going to give you my cut, which you can agree or disagree with. But obviously, I'm going to preface this with a little bit of insecurity in saying I am not a top-level StarCraft player. But to me, the thing that I most felt looking at the changes was, one, this game is going to get a lot more interesting, both in terms of what the spectator's going to see. And to me, more importantly, there's always been a critique that StarCraft 2, when compared to Brood War, obviously, requires less APM, requires less to manage than Brood War did. I think these changes are going to increase what players can manage, and therefore I think APM will start to grow in its relevancy. That's my cut. I'd be interested in hearing what you think.
I definitely agree with you on that point. I remember in Brood War, like every Terran unit had some secondary ability that you always had to keep track of. And with the Battle Hellion now coming into play, having to make that split decision, do you want your Hellions to be able to have that high movement ability so that they can run away from Banelings, or do you want them to be a little bit slower but able to tank on Zerglings a little bit more, and having to make those decisions? Also, the Shredder was the one unit that I've talked with a lot of people in line and just in the press, and they have a lot of concerns about the Shredder. I don't know if you guys know the Shredder. I'm sure you guys know what the Shredder does, but some of the surprising things was the Shredder's AoE damage actually stacks right now, and it also attacks air. So anything where there's no collision or no collision units does a lot of damage very, very quickly. I saw three Shredders take down about 36 Mutalisks in 3 seconds, just because of the sheer damage output of those units. So being able to keep track of the minimap, definitely going to be very important as well. Other things like the Tempest and the Replicon or Replicator, people keep on switching the names on me. It's going to give a lot of interesting gameplay, especially for Protoss, where the Protoss in the middle of battle, in the middle of deciding what units to warp in now, has to also decide what unit he needs right at that moment. Because a Replicon by itself, it's a 4-food unit, and if you're in a 200-200 battle and you have 5 Replicons who haven't done anything yet, you're down 20 food. So that's going to be also a very, very critical split decision making, whether or not you're going to try to go for a Void Ray, a Siege Tank, or what is missing right at that moment.
No, I agree with you. I think that, first of all, you've got now, one, I wasn't aware that they stacked, so I hadn't been following it that closely. That's really interesting. So imagine there's a lot of concern that that's going to be overpowered. And obviously map control there, if you're in a large macro game, you obviously have an advantage over all the other races unless I'm missing something. And what effect will that have? I mean, we'll see. I mean, that's the exciting thing about StarCraft, is that when Blizzard makes these kinds of changes, it has deep effect on play. And obviously, we're going to see a lot of players start to think creatively and see what comes out of that. But going back to the Protoss units you mentioned, I happen to play Protoss when I do play, and I have I feel like this one unit has really opened up what the Protoss race is all about. Because now, for those of you that don't know, you can actually become whatever other units you see on the map.
Mm-hmm. And what's important to note is it's not whatever unit the Replicon sees, it's whatever unit any of your units can see. So there could be a Raven halfway across the map, and you can replicate it.
I wanted to get from you, Kurt, what you guys at Check 6, as you guys start to prepare for these changes. What have some of your StarCraft players been saying?
I mean, I haven't had a chance to talk to them much about it. They've mainly sort of been talking about, some of the games and things like that. And I haven't really saw too many of the changes myself. One of the things that interests me the most, though, is some of the stuff that they've, temporarily at least, and some of this I think people need to calm down about a little bit. Like, I'm not sure if, some of these changes are final or anything like that, and nothing's really final over there. So you never can tell with them. But from, some of the reports that we see on Reddit/r/StarCraft, they were talking about how, number one, pylons, you can't warp to the high ground anymore. So from the low ground, you won't be able to warp to the high ground, or you weren't with the Heart of the Swarm patch at BlizzCon at least, and whether that be they hadn't worked in, or they purposely didn't do it, I don't know. But to me, I mean, that's a lot of people think that might be kind of a minor thing, but to me, I would think that's kind of a big thing for people that work that into their play, whether it be through cheese or whether it be through some kind of harass. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I heard reports that the mothership is being removed. Is that correct, Crota? You probably know better than I do.
Yeah, the mothership and the carrier have been removed. Yeah,
I mean, the carrier I kind of expected, but I didn't really expect the mothership. That's to me, I always enjoyed watching the mothership, and maybe it's just the hilarity of it. But seeing ever since I saw probably Huck at Raleigh, in Raleigh. Last season from LG, I've been a fan. So, and then, it made me even more of a fan when, the Stefano versus Kiwikaki game at IPL a few weeks ago. There's some really amazing play you can do with that mothership. To see it removed like that, I don't know if I necessarily agree with it, but I suppose we'll see.
Well, one of the key mothership abilities, I know this was probably lost a lot unless you really read the fine print. One of the key mothership abilities, the recall ability, has been moved to the Nexus. So so all of a sudden people are like, wait. I have a scroll of town portal on a Nexus, and that's going to really change the game a lot, where a lot of the times Protoss players, they would tend to overextend themselves, get past their proxy pylons, they would lose a pylon in the middle of the field, and then all their units would suddenly die, especially when attacking a Zerg base, when 16 spawn larvas all happen to come out at the same time, and all of a sudden you're dealing with 120 roaches. You were kind of like, okay, I need to really utilize my units and try to take out as much as I can, but my army's dead. Now that every Nexus has the ability to recall back home, you can be able to save any army that you've overextended, and that's one of my concerns, where Protoss almost have this get out of jail free card where I'm going to push as hard as I can, and then right when I see a large army, I'm going to pull back, and then I'm going to rinse and repeat because I have 4 Nexuses, and who needs Chrono Boost 25 minutes into the game?
I agree, and I want you to save that comeback. We're going to take a quick break while we reset this call, and then we're going to continue. I want to talk about more BlizzCon when we get back.
We are back, and we're going to continue talking a little bit about some BlizzCon. I definitely want to get into some Blizzard Dota here in the next couple minutes. That's a huge announcement. So, Jerry, let's get back to where we were, sir.
Yeah, for those of you, sorry about that sound. Anyway, I do want to jump on because, a lot of people are going to be talking about these units in StarCraft for a while. But now we have Blizzard's Dota announced, and we've already talked about it. We have a bit of a crowded MOBA field, right? We have Dota 2, we have League of Legends, we have Han. Now Blizzard makes, obviously, a business decision that they're going to get into this space also. Crota, you were there, and I'd love to know what the reaction was, because all we hear is StarCraft, and you hear the announcement, and that's it. But what was the impression there?
The impression on Blizzard Dota, it was actually one of the longer lines, and the press line for Blizzard Dota was incredibly long. Towards the end, normally I'd be able to jump out of a game and jump right back in and do a little bit more testing, try to get my thoughts. But there was easily 25 to 30 people in the VIP line trying to sit down and play Blizzard Dota. It was really that fun of a game. I'm sure you guys all know or follow some form of League of Legends or some MOBA style game, and Blizzard really decided to attack it from a different angle, and I'm not quite sure if a lot of the hardcore players out there, how they're going to feel about it. The games that I've played generally last around 25 minutes. It's much, much faster pace than, say, some of the other games out there where games and battles can tend to go long. Also, the item system was much easier as well. All heroes start off with a mount. All heroes have the ability to teleport back home. So it was almost like, wait, why are you watering it down? But a lot of the things that I did like about it was visually appealing. It had strong graphics, and people who've never played any sort of a MOBA game could almost get a general idea of how to play it, and it was just very visually appealing and good for spectators.
Well, I was able to because I know our VP Doomhammer played a lot of Storm of the Inner Sanctum, I think it was called. And in that, he always said, and he had played League of Legends and, played Dota and Han and anything that was out there he got into. And he played that for quite some time. And I think that, for a lot of people, thinking about it now, Blizzard has always been excellent about this, and we talked about this before. What are the barriers to entry? How easy is it to get in? Blizzard changed the thinking around MMOs when it came to being profitable for the entire industry. Again, could Blizzard do it again in the MOBA genre, which generally appeals to a very hardcore gamer, and all of a sudden they take already a very familiar look, characters that are familiar to gamers everywhere from their universes, and you create this game. But I want to get in our MOBA manager here, Asylum, because it is his area of expertise, and I want to get your thoughts as somebody. What do you feel about Blizzard's entry here?
Well, to be honest, when I first heard about it, I believe it was Doomhammer who actually sent me the link about it, and my first initial thought was, is this real? Like, is Blizzard really going to do this? And then I sat down and I thought about it for a while, and I'm like, this is an ingenious move by Blizzard. This is like the best possible move that Blizzard can make as far as where to go next. Because let's think about it for a second. Dota got its origins in Warcraft 3, and it worked amazingly well. Now Blizzard's taking what they have in StarCraft 2, making it a custom game for StarCraft 2, and then they're throwing everybody from all Blizzard lore into it. I mean, just think about that just from a business perspective. You have Nova versus Arthas. You could do Thrall against the Queen of Blades. You can just thinking about that is just absolutely mind-blowing. It's like CaptnBarbosa just mentioned in chat, Smash Brothers for Blizzard. Like, just think about that for a second. And on their official post on their website, you know, they're purposely keeping the amount of champions you can pick, or I should say legends you can pick, because that's what all these characters are. They're legends in the Blizzard universe. And the amount of items you can buy to a minimum to keep it simple, to keep that barrier of entry down so people can get into the game and play it. And that's what a MOBA should be all about, you know, being able to get in there and play it. It doesn't have to be difficult in order to be good. It doesn't have to be difficult in order to be competitive. And with as much backstory as Blizzard has with all of their titles, throwing them all into a Dota-type game is either going to be an extreme success, or it's going to flop big time. But let's be real, it's Blizzard. They're not going to mess this up. They're going to take as much time as they feel necessary to make sure it's going to be a success, and I could not be more ecstatic. I know you want to say something, Kurt.
Always. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, though, if I could narrow it down to one word, I would probably say confusing. When they announced this, I was just kind of confused by it. I'm not sure what road they're going to take it down. I don't know if they're going to be putting a lot of money into it. I don't know if they're going to be, trying to sell it, or if they're going to give it away for free. Blizzard isn't exactly known for giving away things for free, which tend to be where these MOBA titles are going, with League of Legends, with Han, with Dota 2. They're all going to be free, or given away for free at least. And that's not Blizzard's thing usually. Blizzard, they don't even want to give away name changes. You can't change your name without giving them $10. So I don't know if they're looking to give away anything for free, but I think it'll be interesting, to say the least, as far as what exactly they're going to do with it. And what's more interesting is whether it's actually going to be a competitive title or not. Whether you can actually compete with Dota, with Han, with League of Legends.
From what they put on their website, they're announcing it as a modded map for StarCraft 2. So I doubt that they're going to actually try to sell a map for StarCraft 2.
Gotcha. So it's just so all it is it's like, I mean, for that matter, there's already mods, Dota type mods out there for StarCraft. There was one, I'm trying to remember the name of it.
Storm of the Imperial Sanctum.
I don't think that's it.
That's the main one, isn't it? Storm of the Imperial Sanctum.
I think
that is the main one.
Yeah.
But before we go any further, I know Paradise has something to say, so let's go ahead and hand it off to him. Jason, what are your thoughts?
Well, here's the thing, and I know that you just said that Blizzard wouldn't charge for a custom map, but there was actually a news release that they did way before StarCraft 2 even came out, where they were saying that they were going to do premium maps, where people would be able to download custom maps for a nominal fee, and the best ones could actually be charged for. We've never seen that implemented yet, but could this be the start of something like that? I mean, you never know. You can definitely tell this is a StarCraft 2 mod, looking even at the trailer, which I'll play again as soon as I'm done talking here. But I definitely think that there's two ways they can go with this. One, if they give this away for free, they could market it on the box, say, hey, buy the Heart of the Swarm expansion and receive Blizzard Dota for free, Blizzard Dota for free, whatever you want to call it. Or they could say, hey, this map is $3-4. You can buy this. And that could possibly be the rollout of their premium map service that they were talking about before StarCraft 2 even launched. So, I mean, there's a couple of different ways that this could go. I could see them doing either way. Personally, I'm leaning towards more of it being like a pack-in bonus on Heart of the Swarm, or as something that's just completely free. I mean, if it's another freebie that Blizzard is throwing in, that's even more of a reason for someone that's a casual player to pick up the game. Not only are they getting StarCraft or Dota, they're getting two games for the price of one. It just makes sense. Don't you agree?
Well, I think something to note really quick is I would normally agree if it was any other company but Blizzard. If it was any other company but Blizzard already knows that people are going to buy their products. I mean, their number one character their only character they're releasing for the new expansion of World of Warcraft is a panda, and people are still going to buy it. So I mean, I don't.
You don't play WoW, do you?
I don't play WoW. No, I don't.
You know
play
too
WoW.
much. You made me really uncomfortable there. I get a little squeamish.
But people are still going to buy that. I mean, people are going to buy StarCraft virtually no matter what. I don't think throwing in a Dota title would help. I didn't know about that premium map thing, though, and that makes me even more confident in saying that they're going to charge somewhat for this.
Well, I want to go back to Crota real quick. When you were on you obviously around a lot of people in the gaming press, can you give us just kind of like the temperature? Like, what were people saying? What kind of ideas were they coming up with what Blizzard might do with this?
Well, I was fortunate enough to be invited to the press panel for Blizzard or StarCraft 2 Arcade, which is going to be the new name for the StarCraft 2 marketplace that was mentioned earlier. And one of the key things about StarCraft 2 Arcade is that yes, there can be premium maps that you can buy, and that people that you would be able to just play additional games built on the StarCraft 2 engine. What's going to be interesting about Blizzard Dota, though, is that Blizzard Dota is going to be free. And when I'm saying free, I'm not saying as a custom. It is going to be a custom map for StarCraft 2. But currently, they're in discussions, or they're talking about whether or not it's going to be part of the StarCraft 2 Starter Edition, the current version of StarCraft where anyone can download and play through a couple of the maps and really get a feel for what it's like. And I really think that's a really smart decision by Blizzard, because Blizzard really wants people from WoW and from those other genres to get into StarCraft 2. And I think this is a beautiful move by Blizzard to say people who only want to play Diablo, they may want to get StarCraft 2 Starter Edition and play Dota as the Witch Doctor, or players who are really fans of the Warcraft lore want to have Arthas versus Thrall, and maybe having Nova sniping away as well. So I think Blizzard is going to be able to is planning on releasing it as a custom map, and possibly having it free for anyone who does it for the StarCraft 2 Starter Edition.
That's actually really interesting. I mean, I didn't know that, and I would agree with that. I hope that's what they do. I hope they don't just try to make another buck off of it. I hope that they're trying to look at just bringing people more into the community rather than just trying to make the money. I have not a completely, but a somewhat off-topic question though, because I'm kind of a noob, when it comes to some of the Dota stuff. I'm confused as far as the Dota title works. Like, maybe someone here knows and can explain to me. Anyone, I'm open to the question here. Defense of the Ancients was originally a Warcraft 3 mod, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
So if it's originally a Warcraft 3 mod, that was a Blizzard-owned thing. Now, Valve is coming out with Dota 2 with Ice Frog and those guys, which is Defense of the Ancients 2. But now Blizzard, so it's back to Blizzard from Valve, it's back to Blizzard. Blizzard is coming out with Blizzard Dota. Who owns that trademark?
I think you bring up a good question, but I don't think it's owned, and let me explain to you why. It was a mod, right? So really, technically, it's like if I made a mod called, I don't know, Swords of Medusa's Hair. Well, I don't know where that came from. And that was the name of the mod, right? And people played it a lot, and I started doing this. I don't think Blizzard actually ever had the rights to the actual defense of the ancients.
But my question, I mean, I would agree with that in the originality of it, but are you saying that Valve has now created a completely new game, a completely new engine on Dota 2, and they haven't trademarked it all? And now Blizzard doing the same thing. They're making their own version of their version of Dota, and they haven't trademarked it all. That's not like them. Usually they have some.
And I hear your point. I think though we got another. I think right. I think and I'm not a lawyer, but Dota, right? Man, it's almost. Dota is more MOBA than MOBA is. And what I mean by that is when people say Dota-like, right, when they use the term Dota, it's almost like using FPS, right? They're almost describing a kind of game. On the really nerdy end, we may call it like MOBA, right? We may have a real good term for it. But I think to the general population, Dota-like, Dota-esque, Dota clone. I mean, what's Valve going to do? Sue? I don't think so. I mean, I don't see anybody winning in that case.
I don't worry about them suing or anything. I was just curious as far as the actual history behind that. I was just really curious because you saw the pictures of Gabe Newell at BlizzCon. It was just kind of curious as far as whether they're working together or who owns that or if anybody owns it. I was just kind of curious.
I think Jerry's right because I mean we've come to the point now where we've used the term so much that it's almost become generic. You know how like Zipper used to be a brand name, or how people now say, "Hey, let me Google that for you," even though they're searching on Yahoo or something. It's almost to the point where it's just generic. So I don't know. Could someone really even trademark that at this point?
No, I hear you. Actually, who uses Yahoo anymore? No, I'm kidding. But yeah, Crota, I know you got to go, but before you go, I got one more question. Wednesday Night StarCraft starts up this week. You and Matron again. I'm looking forward to it. There's, we've had changes recently, and a lot of things have shifted after MLG Orlando as far as the races. I'm looking forward to it. Talk a little bit about your experience casting for Wednesday Night StarCraft and some of your own goals, if you don't mind, before you head out.
Well, Wednesday Night StarCraft was probably the best live event I've ever been associated with, just because I've been able to, meet a lot of interesting players. I got to know the vVv team a little bit more, got to see the crazy antics of Ruff and his crazy style, being completely blown away by Hasu's reverse all kills, something that I would never ever expect. No diss to Hasu, but at that point I hadn't known that he had practiced that hard and was able to come back. So it's those moments, it's those times where I almost feel like I have a personal connection with some of these players, and seeing them do so well or seeing them have a bad beat, having a bad beat, I almost feel, and as a commentator, I'm supposed to try to be biased, but all the vVv guys, I love you guys, in the brotherly way, and I want to see you guys succeed. In terms of casting, in terms of where I want this to go, right now, sky's the limit. I mean, eSports is something that only, I think, like maybe 5% of the American population, or maybe 3% of the world population have really seen, heard, or experienced. And I think it can just continue to grow, and I believe there's a lot of entertainment value there, and I hope that I can just find a good audience, find people who respect esports, who don't need to, who can understand that esports in and of itself, the game in itself is pure entertainment value. They don't need to talk about chickens, they don't need to talk about what they did last week, and just have the game speak for itself, and that's really my focus on esports.
And I want to say this, for those of you that don't know, we met Crota and we met Matron in two separate conversations, and both really impressed us. And we said, what if we put these two people together who had never casted before, who don't know one another, and try this for Wednesday Night StarCraft? I think you two, the first word that comes to my mind dealing with either one of you is professional. And I think you just echoed part of that in what you just said. You said, I let the game speak for itself. You do. I never have to worry about you trying too hard, because I know you have faith and a love for what you're casting, that you stick to the things that are interesting to you. And I really deeply appreciate that. And I want to thank you for that. Secondly, I want to say that, I've learned a lot watching Wednesday Night StarCraft. For those of you that don't know, when I'm on Wednesday Night StarCraft, I get this awesome ability to be around our top players, our StarCraft community. I get to watch our players playing for money, and I get to learn. I get to learn by the kind of conversations that players have, right? The players go off to play, and all the vV community sits around and starts to comment as Crota and Matron are talking about it. To me, it's like having our own mini tournament, and I really enjoy the whole thing. So with that being said, Crota, I know you got to go. I remember hearing the child in the background. It's late for you. I will see you again tomorrow night, and thank you so much. Welcome back from BlizzCon. And any shout-outs before you go?
Well, just shout out to my co-caster Matron. I know like he works just as hard as I do, and we both have a real love. And gotta say, thanks for having me. If you guys need me back again next week, because I think I've scratched like maybe 20% of BlizzCon. There was really a lot that went on there, so I'll be glad to come back again if you guys have any other questions.
Well, I think we might take you up on that offer. All right, Crota, you have a good night, and we will see you tomorrow night for Wednesday Night StarCraft.
Thank you.
Wow, Kurt, we're playing you next week. Do you know that?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
And I'll be honest with you, last time we played, it was close. It was fun.
It was close. It was really good matches. If I remember right, I was sitting there trying to think. I think Mystic ended up getting like 2 people, killing 2 of your guys, and then came back, and I think Titan maybe killed like 3 of our guys, like back to back to back.
Titan was on a roll. He gave you that Zerg nightmare. He did.
It was crazy, man. It was good.
It was awesome. And you guys are no joke. You guys are better. We're a little bit better. So I think it's going to be a test to see who has gotten better. And I think it's going to be just as close. I really do.
Yeah. At the very least, I mean, no matter who wins, it's going to be some amazing matches. I can almost assure you. So.
Yeah, I mean, and if we've actually got a little preview of that at MLG Orlando with some of our guys playing each other. It was a lot of fun, and it was pretty hype. And you know what? Not to pull a really punny transition, but I think it's time we switch over to some Hypefestation, because we had the epic Hypefestation tournament that happened this weekend for Gears of War 3, and it was pretty awesome. We've got the entire vVv Gaming Gears of War team here joining us tonight. So that's Monk, Leon, Myth, and Enmity. Additionally, we also have...
Hold on. Could you say that one more time? What was his name?
Myth. Enmity? Not Enmity?
Yeah,
like
anybody out there who ever casts, look, I know that there are words like enmity. I get that. But enmity, if you look it up in the dictionary, it kind of means like, well, it's Nick's personality. It kind of means I hate you and don't talk to me, to make a long story short. And I think no matter how hard we tried, we couldn't get them to do that. But I'm not, before we talk to our Gears team, who I have like loads of love in, why don't we bring in one of the organizers, one of the casters, one of the people who did lot of work this weekend. Jason, bring him on.
Jason. Oh my God. It's Jason Barbosa, CaptnBarbosa. I've had a love for this guy ever since he actually did a video review of our 17th episode way back in the day, going back old school. But Jason Barbosa finally joining us on the losers bracket for the first time. The Captain, welcome to the show, my man.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
That's it? That's all we get? I thought this was something crazy. I think that's
Bro,
the shortest. My energy levels after this weekend, I'm still recovering on sleep. So,
that was awesome. It's so good.
Give me a break on that. I'm going to try here. Let me get my cap.
Look, I'm going to tell you something. Here's the world of Gears of War, right? Let's start with this. I sit back, I go, oh my God, CDN, Murray, you, Beyond Gaming, and Vicious, you guys want to hold a tournament, you want to invite 16 teams. I think, oh man, that's a lot of work. But you know what? This is something that we have to be a part of, want to be a part of. We're sending our team. And then I start watching and I think, you know what? This was perfect. Like, first of all, can you give us some idea of the stream numbers you guys had?
I projected to start like our low end. This was projections. This wasn't what actually happened. I projected our low end to be 3K, and then maybe we'll round up to 10K for the super finals. But we actually held 5,500 viewers on that Sunday for most of the day. Like everybody just sat there and watched the whole stream, and it was amazing. And then we went late, and it kind of dropped down to 2,900, but there were still people just loving the stream and chat, and the energy levels and everything were so high throughout the whole event. I loved the whole thing.
There was no better Gears of War played in the last 3 years. I'm just going to be honest with you.
Oh, wow. Thanks.
I mean it. It was classic. It was, first of all, I've been watching Gears of War forever, and everybody has a Gears of War opinion, but I believe I'm slightly qualified to give one. I'm sure if I asked you, Kurt, about 1.6, you'd give me a few opinions yourself. And the one thing I think here is that the quality of play was magnificent. I really felt that this was a better idea than I could have imagined, because you've done two things. One, you've created a small brand. Hypefestation can happen again. Two, you've shown to the leagues that Gears of War has a vibrant community. It's phenomenal to spectate, and it really is good. And I think it can only get better from here. And that has me excited. I think Major League Gaming, who obviously has made it pretty clear they're picking this game up next season, the rivalry Infinity, Insanes, vVv Gaming, MBN. I think we got all the top talent there. I think there's a lot of exciting stuff going on. I don't know. For you, Jason, the captain there, what was your experience? I want you to talk real quick about your kind of own Gears knowledge, and then what you came in expecting, and then what you got, because I'd love to hear that.
All right. Well, my first encounter with the Gears community was MLG 2009, and this is when I was kind of breaking into what eSports was and actually caring about what was happening, because I knew eSports was always around. I just never knew how big it was, and that's when I started business with Aaron. That was NoobTube.tv way back when. So I went to MLG 2009. I saw Halo. I saw all these other games, but I just fell in love with the Gears of War community. They had the most energy. They were rooting each other on. The matches were the most fun to watch. The encounters were great. It's like the fighting game of the shooting community, and I just had the most fun there. So I wanted to follow it up, but then it seems like the community didn't really like to keep going with Gears 2, so it kind of fell off. But ever since I experienced that live event hype, I just fell in love with that community, and I wanted to support them whenever like the next big opportune moment would be. So when Gears of War 3 was announced, I was like, yes, I'm going to make something out of this. And
here you are. Now, there were a lot of you guys let other people come on and cast, and I would say primarily you and Gandhi. Would you agree with that?
No, it wasn't me. That was Charlie. That was DeFaceX and Gandhi. They did mostly that.
Cast. DeFace and Gandhi, yes. You'd say, yep. All right, so DeFace, Gandhi, give them a grade.
Oh, you're going to put me on the spot here, huh?
Yeah, you're on the losers bracket.
How about this? So I've asked a lot of people what they thought about the stream, and I'm getting a lot of returns on DeFace and CDN, because they seem to embody the community the most. They know they're obviously great players, and their knowledge is there, and they just have that also, like that manly presence, that really stern, confident presence, and they're good role models too. So those got the most. Everybody loved Gandhi too. He was totally high energy all weekend. Like the guy, he doesn't even need caffeine to have energy. That guy just kept going off. So those were our main three commentators, and then we let people get on, because this. What I want to stress was that this was for the gamers by the gamers. This wasn't like a corporate event. This was gamers coming. We had a whole bunch of people volunteer some equipment. Xboxes were volunteered, game discs were volunteered, TVs, houses. People were lodged at Joey's house. People were here. Vicious was definitely housing 2 teams. So this was definitely an event for the gamers by the gamers, and that's pretty much what made it that awesome, really like family-like feeling in the room.
All right. Well, I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to ask a couple people for some things. Asylum, I know this was really your first experience with Gears of War. For those of you that don't know, Asylum was watching with us. I forgot he said something. Oh, I'm going to pick on this later. But what did you think, Asylum? Because you've never really been a fan of Gears of War. How did you feel about it?
Well, I did buy an Xbox 360 way back in the day, back in the good old vanilla days of the original Gears of War, and I did play it for a little while. I absolutely loved the game. Other than that, I had basically zero knowledge, zero experience with Gears of War. Absolutely none. The only thing I knew about Hypefestation going in to watch the stream was that, okay, it's Gears of War 3, and vVv Gaming was going to be part of it. So I tuned in, and I was blown away. Absolutely, I could not put into words at how should I put this? How amazed I was with not only the production quality that the people at Hypefestation and Beyond Gaming did, but the gameplay was just, it was so engaging. Like, I literally could not get my eyes off of my monitor the entire time. It was just absolutely amazing. The execution game type in itself, I liked it. I didn't like it. There's goods and bads on that end. But overall, coming from someone who has no experience in Gears of War, I absolutely loved it. It was so engaging. It kept me glued to my monitor the entire weekend. And it wasn't just when vVv was playing. All the other teams, too. And the casters, like CDN, Deface, just, it was overall just an amazing, amazing experience. And I could not ask for anything better to watch on any given weekend.
Silence too nice. He says too many nice
Yeah,
things.
thank you so much.
I know. Wow. You guys have made a fan. Great. Now he thinks he knows something about Gears of War. I hope you're happy.
I still know nothing about Gears of War.
And don't you forget it. Don't you forget it. All right. So I want to get everybody else in. Jason, real quick. I don't know. I know you were working too, but you were peeking around. What did you think?
Yeah, I did get the chance to tune in for quite a few of the games, and I've told this story before. I was never really a big Gears of War fan until Gears of War 3, and now I can't stop playing the game. I absolutely love it. And getting the chance to watch the stream, watch the gameplay, watch the casters, listen to the casters and Enmity. But I have to say, it was a really great tournament. And as you said, it's a huge step because this proves that Gears of War 3 is viable. It had some awesome stream numbers. And I think the next big goal for us is really going to be getting the personalities, getting the people that we think of as the faces of Gears. We've talked about in the past. Looking at the chat here, we've had a couple people saying that they felt Gandhi was a little below par. I'm seeing some D's, some C minuses. But at the same time, I'm seeing that CDN, a lot of people feel that he was A+ caster. The general community consensus for what everyone's saying in the stream right now is that he was pretty awesome, and I have to agree with that. His commentary was just beautiful, especially over one of my favorite parts of Hypefestation, and I have to give Barbosa some credit on this. The intros, the team intros. What a great idea. Such a professional look. And I think I'd be amiss if I didn't mention the nose flick. I think
He went there.
Nose flick.
All right, first off, so everybody in the stream knows what we're talking about because I know not everybody has seen it yet.
I'm going to play it.
We're going to back this up, right? Let's back this whole thing up a minute. So first of all, Captain, I want to know who came up with the idea of doing these. So everybody knows they did these sort of team promo videos, really short, like 15, 20-second promo videos. And we're playing it live right now.
Yes.
So you want to know who came up with the idea?
These are the top 4 intro videos if you're watching live right now on the stream. But feel free to continue talking, guys. Don't
No,
just...
I didn't know you had it on in the background. I was just wondering.
I don't know. Is it just a video or the audio?
Oh, it's just
on
video.
Okay. I didn't want to put a CD in there.
So one thing that I want to point out is that who came up with the idea of doing these videos, because I thought it was a brilliant little idea, and you guys did it so quickly.
Well, that was all me. My mission in life, I started 4 years ago, was to elevate gamers to that rock star status. And I was like one of the only few people in the industry that had an authentic HD camera. And I come from a film production background with lighting and camera work. So I've always wanted to do this for gamers. I've never
look like a grip now that I come to think of it.
Yeah, I used to be a grip. Electric, lighting, gaffer. And I did some deep work.
You should look me up at IMDb one day. That'll tell you a little bit of a story of my own film.
Here it comes. The nose flick. Oh my god, that's so good.
There you go.
Oh my
Yeah,
Ah, you gotta love that.
God.
but
Gotta love that.
in my quest to raise these gamers to that rockstar status, you kind of have to give them some flair, show off those personalities, and really elevate them so people can see who they are. They're not just gamer tags, you know. There's people behind it. There's personalities. I wanted to get that all out there. So, you know, there's more to come. I'm just gonna say there's definitely more on the way of that.
Well, Major League Gaming should hire you to do those. I'm just going to say that if Sundance is looking for somebody to do that, you guys didn't have a lot of time. You were in a small space, and you produced what I thought were the best videos for players in a short amount of time that I've ever seen. I mean this, where the fuck has this been all of competitive gaming time? So that talent alone, I think we should shine a spotlight on that and say, you want Captain here. It's hard to call you Jason because we have another Jason, but you want the Captain here to do your promo videos. And we should. I think you clearly understand a few things about what you're shooting. You have an idea of composition. I thought the way you positioned the camera was good. It just looks really good. And I think if your goal was to elevate players to rock star status and give them a personality, the Insane's video and the one of our team, I thought definitely did that. So really good job on that, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Barbosa, I want you back at the ESEA land to do it for my team. What do you say?
Hey, you know, if they'll have me, I'll do it. I ran the ESEA stream last May, I believe, and you know, I had some crew there to help out with stuff. But you know, my favorite part of these streams is actually when I get to do production and off-cast stuff. You know, I love streaming, but you got Murray in chat here. Murray is a technical directing beast. Like, that man sits in the chair and just loves his job. So I have to wind up doing all the off-cast stuff and the lighting and the camera work and directing people around and everything. But I want to give a lot of credit to Murray because that man runs the buttons on the stream. Like, he's controlling what the user experience is, and I just try to make it look as pretty as I can.
Yeah,
Well, I think Murray does deserve a huge shout out, and I think in the future we may have you both back on the show. Because I'm quite certain this is not the last that you guys are going to be doing. So I think that's going to be, like I said, I think any team who sees that is going to say, hey, I want a promo video like that for our team. I'll be honest with you, and this is a very serious thing. We now, because of your work, have the ability to run to sponsors and add that to what we show them. And
So I'm going to send you guys a raw.
I know that, but I mean, even beyond that, I think, and we try to educate people on the show. This has nothing to do with vV Gaming or Check Six Gaming or anything. I'm just saying this to anybody out there. If you have a team together, what Jason has created in these little promo videos, it's very subtle. You have to have an eye for it, but if you have that skill or you have access to Jason, you want to get your team this kind of promo video because I can, you know, I'm one of those people, a picture's worth 1,000 words. I really believe, and when we talk to our Gears of War team, who's going to be on the show here in a little bit, I think you brought a character out in Leon that none of us knew was there. Right? Leon all of a sudden becomes, I don't think there will be an MLG event now where there isn't going to be 50,000 vVv fans flicking their nose because of a video you produced and that they're going to be thinking about Leon. And when Leon's done with the match, all these people are going to be looking, will he stand up after he wins and flick his nose at the other team, right? This is what's going to happen. And you nailed that. You did that. I mean, it's the same thing with and to not make it all about vVv, even Nick Merckx, when you got him to do the thing, you know, I thought that was, you know, character in itself too. So you made the teams look good. It was very flattering to the players, and it gave them an opportunity to bring out their personality, which I thought was awesome. So all in all, I think we need to see more of you. We do.
Well, Jerry, I've been around for 4 years, and kind of been lurking, and I'm just waiting for an opportunity to really go big. And this is one of those events that, like, I just called Caesar one day. I had produced a stream with Murray, and we wanted to really control it. We want to put on a show. Isn't it, like, there's one thing running an event and having people compete, but when you put on a show, like, you can have people play music, but then you could put on, like, a stage and you could put people on a show. It's just that much better an experience. And I called CDN because I know he's got all that swagger, and he's very respected in the community. So I knew he was up to something, or he knew something was up. So I called him and I said, listen, I want to run a stream for you. I don't know what it is. I don't know what you're involved with, but let me run the stream. You run the event and let's do this. And that's what happened. Hypefestation.
Well, like I said, if you guys are still at the event cleaning up, aren't you?
Well, we're in Long Island here, just tying up loose ends, but we're not exactly at the venue.
Gotcha. So you guys are wrapping up your weekend, so to speak, about to enter the sort of decompression stage, right? Where you're about done with the hard stuff.
You know what? I'm going to put a special guest here on the mic. Here you go. Hold on 1 second.
Oh, who do we get?
Is it who I think it is?
I don't know. We'll find out in a minute. We get a special guest.
La Mega Zapega 97.9.
See, sir, my man. How are you?
Oh, my
What's
God.
up?
Nice. CDN.
Coming on.
What's going on, guys? How you feeling?
Caesar, you're too distinct. We know who you are.
Wait, say that again? You broke up there, Pop.
What language you speak in, we know who you are. You are too distinctive of a... All right, so here we are. We have the organizer. Here is my question, right? And I want to start out with first thing first. Tell everybody, when did this brainchild of an idea come up? And you guys had to move quick. So what's it? Now you've got an event underneath your belt for the Gears of War community. How was it for you personally, sir?
You know what? I was amazed on how everything turned out. I mean, obviously this was our first event. Myself, Jason, Vicious, Murray, Burger Fresh, like we all kind of, we ran into our obstacles, we overcame them. We had an event to produce, and, at the end of the day, we all did what we had to do to get the job done. And on top of that, like, just the players, like, everybody was just all about it. Like, I even saw, actually, our friend here, Mr. Mazur here, he was even helping, packing stuff up. And I was like, wow, like, it just, everyone is just like all about this. And, we're all in this together. We didn't all win, but people were just, like, all for one for all type vibe. And I couldn't have asked for a better event. Like, I'm just, so appreciative of this community that I'm involved with, to be completely honest.
You're a humble man, sir. And I think you guys did a great job. I know it was you and Vicious and obviously Murray and Jason here, and I saw Immortal Spawn do some stuff on stream, and it's a great community that put this together. I mean, and I think you guys, in an odd way, stepped up to the plate the way you had to, and the Gears of War was entertaining. I'm gonna be honest. I had plans Sunday night, and I canceled it to keep watching. And
oh man, that's awesome.
And there were moments, right? I said this to Asylum because we were watching earlier in the day. Yeah. I think it was the first time that vV Gaming was playing Retaliation, and all of a sudden, a lot of memories came back. It's hard to think about how far we all go back.
I know.
It really is. And now it's going to be like 2012, our year to do it right. And I think we have enough people who, are mature enough and can add value like you guys just did this weekend, that I think it's going to be the best Gears of War we've ever had.
Yeah, that's exactly how we see it too, man. Like, there's just so much potential, and everyone has the right energy. Obviously because of the streams, like, there's all these sponsors that want to get involved, and because they're sponsors, there's more reason for these players to spend a little extra money because there's actually, a chance for them to make some money, and also just, to win, to get that W, to get all that exposure. So it's a really good look for Gears of War and eSports right now.
Awesome, Caesar. I, again, want to thank you for what you did this weekend. I think you guys put on a great show. I know a lot of people were thankful. Your stream numbers were solid, and they were, I think what Jason said, they were consistent, and that's the most important part.
Yeah.
And, this was your first event ever, and it was, as Jason said, homegrown. And there may be complaints about a caster or two, or maybe it took too long or things like that. But I think all in all, the one thing that struck me was that when you invite the top players, it's almost like magic happens.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That it just comes together and you get this amazing, entertaining event. And it sounds to me like you guys got the right people in the right place.
Yep. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
But before you go, Kurt, I want to bring you in real quick, Kurt, because you are, for those who don't know, Kurt from Check Six is, maybe he'll look at a Gears Award team upcoming. He's somebody who sponsors players and makes those kind of decisions. And I think, Kurt, I want to hear your thoughts. I mean, console's not your strength. This is going to be new to you.
Yeah, console's not exactly my strength, but I try to look at everything. I mean, I did watch a little bit of the Hypefestation. First off, great job on the production, really. The event really seemed to go off better than most, better than most events, better than most events that are huge. Better ran than tournaments like ESWC. So you guys did a great job, and I really applaud you for that.
Thank you.
I suppose, man, my main question is actually pointed towards Caesar, though, because he was on the losers bracket a few weeks ago, and if I remember correctly, and please correct me if I'm wrong, there was this really long sort of back and forth about finding this, a community, a person for the community for casting that to be like the sort of pillar of a community. StarCraft has them. People like Day9 and Counter-Strike has them, and every community has them. And at that time, you were more pointed towards playing. You said you wanted to be on a team, you wanted to play. Are you still in that player mindset, or are you looking to more get into casting? A lot of people seem to really love how well you did at this event. So, and
I swear to God, I didn't put him up to this, just for the record.
Well, you know what, man. For me, it's all about competing, and when I can, I will commentate. I feel like we have a really strong commentator in DeFace. I feel like he's very personable. He's he comes off to me, at least from what I've noticed, as a leader. I think he's and obviously he just started doing this as well, and I actually had a pretty I probably had like a 1 or 2 hour phone call with him after the event. And he was telling me that, this might be something he may be actually taking a little more serious, and maybe actually even thinking about retiring the sticks and maybe actually doing it full time. And I think as long as we have the face on board, I feel like we have somebody, you know what I mean? And how ironic that his gamer tag is the face, you know what I'm saying? So, as far as I go though, man, I don't know. I feel like I'm going to be 96 years old. I mean, I'm 95 now, so I'm pretty damn old, but I feel like I'm going to be 96 years old and playing, man. I mean, I got my guys that, my teammates Requiem and Camille's, we've been down for the cause since Gears 1. And I can't ever see myself, leaving these guys until we get our W's, man, that we earned, that we want.
Hey, man, look, I know a lot of people are going to be somewhat disappointed that you're not going to be full-time casting, but I applaud you. You show you're a true competitor in the sense that even when people are saying, how amazing job you did at casting, you're still like, look, I'm a competitor through and through, man. So keep it up.
All right, thanks a lot, Kurt. And everybody on the cast, I appreciate you guys having me. Thank you.
Take care, Caesar.
All right, guys. Later.
I had a question.
Go ahead. What's your question, Asylum?
You still there, Caesar?
Oh, I can give it back. Hold on.
Oh.
Yo, what up? No, I'm back.
I had one final question.
What's up?
Is Leon that fresh?
No, seriously, what was that? Was that real life? That flick, swagger. That was just so unreal. I love that so much. When I seen that, I wanted to die. I couldn't even believe it. It was honestly that really, just like you said, Jerry, I had no idea what Jason is he's just a clever dude, man. He didn't even tell anybody that this was going down. Just out of nowhere, you just see this pop on stream, and I'm like, so that's what he's been up to for the past 5 hours. And it was just so, it just reminded me of something straight out of I felt like I was watching TV,
You're right. The production value was there. That's absolutely the truth. Yep.
It was so sick, man. And everyone was going so in on everyone's everyone had so much swag. It was just, it really showed personality. And oh man, I love that so much. So good.
All right, Caesar. Thank you so much again.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's bring the captain back on here.
I'm back.
All right, Captain, here's my question for you.
Yes. Go for it.
How did my team behave?
Your team was great. They had a lot of energy, and there's one thing that I love about this Gears community is that they're all allowed to talk absolute crap, and then they still have that sportsmanship after because it's like part of that mind game when they play. So I love it. Is they just start yelling at each other, and they made these creative. I actually set rules at the beginning of the event. I said I restricted a few things that they could say, and I think everybody's trash talk was actually just pretty creative, and they behaved. They were great. I'd have them again. I'd love to have them again. Actually, let's do another promo vid.
We just may do that. Jason, why don't you bring on the vVv Gears of War team?
As in
Jason, oh my God, I did it. See, I knew it. Paradise, bring him on. I want to talk to our Gears team.
Yeah, let's talk to the guys. Took third place at Hypefestation, had a couple of really insane matches. Wow, I'm actually starting to play one of the matches we had against Retaliation right now. But we've got the guys here. We've got Enmity, that is how you pronounce it, Leon, Monk, and Myth. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Let's start at Enmity, man. Enmity, thank you so much for joining us on the Losers Bracket tonight. How are you doing tonight, Nick?
I'm doing real good. I'm glad to be on.
Awesome. We're glad to have you as well. Leon, what about you, buddy? How are you doing tonight?
Doing outstanding, nose flick.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. On top of that, we've got Myth. Myth, how are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing absolutely amazing myself, too. How are you guys doing?
Beautiful, man. Beautiful. It's great to have you. And last but not least, I actually got to meet him out at Devastation. vVv Monk, welcome to the Losers Bracket, buddy.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Awesome, man. Glad to have you all. It was an absolutely incredible event to watch, and I'm sure you guys had a good time. Enmity, what were your thoughts of the event?
I'm glad that Myth did really well. You know, it was a big risk for us to bring a complete no one on, and he really came out to play and showed everyone up that doubted him.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I thought that you guys made one of those, it was either going to make you or break you decisions. I remember when you guys were forming the team, Enmity came to me and he said, hey, I've got a kid who lives near me, and he's a phenomenal host. To which I said, that's probably not the role that you want the least experienced person in. He said, trust me. I said, okay. Enmity's been with us for quite some time. And then we took that step back and said, let's watch this ride. And fortunately, I'd had a chance to watch them scrim and play beforehand, and I was already feeling good. And a matter of fact, I didn't really feel that I needed to watch them. All the raw talent was there. And now the question became, how would they gel as a team? So anybody familiar with the Gears of War community knows Leon and Monk. They've been playing together for a long time, and I want to bring Leon in to sort of start us out here and give us a feel. So, David, if you don't mind, give me a feel for how long have you and Monk been playing together, and when did you first start playing together?
Oh, man, me and Monk been playing since game battles, or NX Gamers, actually, way back in the day. I don't even know the year, to be honest.
Oh, wow, NX Gamers, really, Brent?
Yeah. Yep, clean sweep.
So you and David have been together since NX Gamers. Wow, that's like, was that Gears 1, right?
Yes.
So talk a little bit about how your journey has been. For those who may not be familiar with what team you started on, eventually you guys would be Simply Underrated. Talk about your journey as on the teams and the players you played with starting in Gears 1, you and David. For those of you that don't know, Brent is Leon and David is Monk. Nick is Enmity. And Myth we refer to as Tim. But his name really is Tim. But they call him Tim. All right, so go ahead, Brent.
I'm thinking it was Orlando 07 or 8, one or the other. We started up clean sweep. I actually joined their team with Sparse and Rage way back. They're actually retired now, and me and Monk stayed. We actually had a very good showing against 50 Frags, who ended up placing second at the event. We decided we should have definitely done better than that. We never stopped, kept playing, came back, got sixth at the next event. Just kind of went up from there.
Now, I remember you guys, Monk, I'm going to bring you in on this one. When did you guys first run into Enmity? and what made you decide to team with him when you first did?
My memory is always not the best, so I don't know exactly when we ran into Enmity, but I just remember that it was all good things from once we ran into him, and kind of never looked back.
Now, if I remember, you guys played together in Dallas, right? It was 2008. It was almost about 2 years ago, right?
Oh, that's correct. I think we were playing with, I want to say Void and Storm, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, Fatal and Deadly. Man, I'm getting all my events mixed up right now, but yeah. Me and him played really well. As a team, we didn't mesh very well right then, but after that, we went with Leon, kind of formed back together, and started playing together then.
Awesome. Well, next I want to bring in Myth, because Myth, as Nick pointed out, where did you come from? Huh? Who are you? So you certainly did some work at the event. You had some pressure. You obviously had to prove yourself, so talk to us. Tell us about your Gears of War background and what it was like to go to your first event.
Well, I'll start with the history of where I come from and whatnot. And I've been playing competitive gaming probably since I was around 12, 13, but I've been playing Xbox, stuff like that since like Halo 1. And I just kind of moved through the ranks there, went to Gears of War after I got bored of Halo, and started playing that more competitively around Gears of War 2 around that time. And then I was just a big ranked and GB kid who just absolutely loves competitive gaming. And after this event, it was so much fun, and everything went well, just absolutely amazing. So I definitely can see more events coming my way.
All right, for those of you that don't know, each of these individuals has a very distinct personality. I tend to refer to Monk and Myth as the nice guys, and Nick may not often be accused of being nice, but he's got a softer side to him. And Leon, you're like little Napoleon with the nose flick. What I want to know, Leon, is you do a lot of the strat calling for the team. Is that right?
I tend to yell out the strats a lot, yes.
And let's talk about what went really well. What would you say, Leon, you are most pleased with coming off this event that you would point to and say this is one of this team's strengths?
Our raw talent is beyond the roof. We have unbelievable skill on this team. We've the perfect fit for everyone. Power weapon plays, a good host player, support player, shotgunner. It's just we have the perfect chemistry right now. We have a good amount of strats. We didn't execute them perfectly, but our raw talent picked it up for that. They'll practice with perfect practice. We will have perfect performance.
All right, Monk, would you agree with that? Anything you want to add to that?
Basically, the only problem that we ended up having during the event is we started getting, really cold after not playing for such a long time, and it was hard to just pick it back up against a team like Infinity, who we ended up losing to, that was just on fire at the time. But in the end, I think Leon's pretty spot on.
Gotcha. Nick, what do you want to add? Because I know you hate losing, so you probably already thinking about the things you want to fix.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I can't believe we got 3-0 by the Insanes. We basically beat ourselves on that one. A little bit nervous, you could tell, with Myth having his first event and all, but he picked it up with a few clutches, and overall it was pretty good. But next event we'll be ready. We'll have hopefully a little bit more local experience in for Myth, and everyone better be watching out.
Myth, what do you think for your time? Were you nervous? Were you tired? I could not remember my first event. I'm like CDN said, I'm like 100 years old, so it's been too long. How was it for you, Myth?
It was very good. It was a little nerve-wracking off the start, but after a few games, then I started picking it up. It lost the nervousness a little ways through, but other than that, it was mainly the toll of having to drink so many energy drinks throughout the whole event to stay aware and focused. It just kind of taken a toll there at the very end when we started playing Infinity. But I'm just gonna have to remember to make sure I just keep buying energy drinks through the whole entire thing. I'll just bring like a 12-pack of Red Bull. I'll be good.
Don't forget your water. Hydrating is important. Matter of fact, this weekend at the Red Bull LAN, Walshy and the group there did a lot of good health stuff. But before, I don't want to go there. I want to stay here for a minute. Myth, as you guys know, I mean, the whole team knows, we have a pretty vibrant Gears community in vV Gaming, and we spend a lot of time developing players. I want to ask you all some really tough questions. I mean, these are the kind of questions that I think the people that are listening in our audience are going to feel, and I'm going to start with you, Myth. Myth, when you're the player who's host, everybody's watching you, you have a really important role, obviously, and the team trusts you. And I'm going to give you two questions. The first one is, do you feel pressure, or do you think you're kind of immune to it? Secondly, a lot of people will say when they're the least known player on a team, they get blamed for everything. I know I'm putting you on the spot, but do you feel that way? Or have you learned a lot and all is good? Let's talk about the pressure first. How do you feel about that?
Personally, I'm not as big of a pressure-based person. I don't get pressured as easily as most people, but it's always in the back of your mind. It's always there. Even if you don't want to admit it, it's always a factor. Like, you're always going to have some pressure on you at one point in time, and a lot of people are going to want to be watching you. And I mean, even if you are an underrated player, you're not going to get blamed you're not going to get blamed for everything. I mean, I can't say that I would have gotten blamed for everything that happened at all. I mean, it's not like that. And not only that, but you'll have a better learning experience. They'll be more focused on teaching you more things if you are the most underrated player on your team. And that's definitely the truth. I've learned more from playing with these guys than I have probably in the past year and a half of competitive gaming. So, I mean, it's definitely a big factor, and I'd actually rather be the newbie on my team so I can learn even more.
I think that attitude right there is what makes you just such a mature player. How old are you, Myth?
I am only 17 right now.
Well, you're a very mature 17. What was the best moment for you in this Hypefestation tournament? What was your best moment?
I think overall, just whenever we got to play. I mean, it was kind of a drag whenever we had to sit there for a little bit, but I mean, as soon as we started playing, it was insanely fun and very, very, very enjoyable. So, I mean, besides having to wait, and I mean, even I think Asylum said earlier, I mean, even watching other teams, not just us playing, but just watching was just joy to itself.
All right, I'm going to bring this back to Nick. Nick, Enmity, what would you say was your best moment? When would you say, even for you personally, what would you say, God, that felt really good?
I would have to say, I've got a couple, but I have to say the best one was when I was in a 3v1 situation against the Insanes, and I happened to kill two of them and draw it out, and one of them being Nick pushing it in with a Lancer and then trying to switch to his shotgun and just getting totally destroyed. And after the draw, I stood up and made sure he knew never to bring out his shotgun again. I think that was definitely my favorite part of me clutching.
That intensity that you have, obviously. All right, gonna go to you next, David Monk. Tell me, what was your best moment?
I'd say I had two best moments of the weekend right there. The first one is when we were able to beat MBN, although I wish it would have been on the stream so everyone could kind of see how we were. And the other one would just be seeing everyone after this long period of time. It's great to just kind of meet everyone again and see how everyone's doing and see your teammates again after all this time.
And this is why, Monk, I accuse you of being a nice guy. You see that?
Yeah, I see it.
All right, Brent, Leon, going to you next. What was your best moment?
I would either say the very first match where we didn't even drop a round the entire time. We actually 12-0'd the other team. That's the clicking moment where we are doing really good at this tournament and we're not going to look back. We're actually going to make a statement this time. Not to put a pun in there, but we are definitely underrated. We're going to come out here and show that we're better than you expect.
Yeah, I think a lot of people underestimated you guys, to be honest. I mean, I think, plus you guys have the the difficulty of having to play for, probably the best and longest known brand in Gears of War. I mean, outside of the Insanes Infinity, but they're just a team, obviously playing for a large organization. So, final question. I don't want to hold you guys up all night, but what is your experience, Leon, having been known as a team and then, selling out to us? I mean, a lot of people would say, look, you guys, we want you to be just simply underrated, but you guys have signed with us and come on board to be in vVv Gaming. How has that experience been for you since this is your first tournament as a vVv team? How supportive has the community been? What has been your experience? How did it feel for you?
Well, simply underrated as is just it was a quick name we made up and we just stuck with it. We never made up a name way back in the day. That's just kind of what stuck after we started playing, and we decided that it's just what we are. It's not really a name. It's just what we are. So we stuck with that, and now we actually have a name. We have a brand. We have something to back us up. So I feel 100% about it. I'd rather have fans than just a name.
Monk, what about you? What has your experience been?
Off the bat, it seems like there was some negativity towards us based on like us signing with vVv, but I don't really understand where the negativity comes from. I mean, vVv is a great organization, and I love the people in it. So joining it was probably one of the better decisions that we've made as a team so far.
Nick, you've been around for a long time, so you might be biased, and you've seen vVv Gaming throughout the years, and I guess for you, in a way, this is almost like the moment finally has come. I mean, I can remember, I think it might have been Meadowlands 08, the first time that I think you were actually on the pro circuit, and you sat coming back after a loss going, I never want that to happen again. And fast forward, here you are. How does it feel to be where you are now based on that journey?
Oh, it really feels great. I feel like I finally got where I wanted to be. Actually, no, I'm wanting that first. I'm not gonna lie. I still want to get better, but it's good to finally be respected at the top. We haven't been getting much respect. Mainly, people say the reason they haven't been getting much respect is vVv, but I find that foolish. All in all, I think we earned the respect we deserve, and just keep moving forward from here.
Finally, for you, Myth, what was your been experience as a new player trying to sort of get everybody's attention? What do you think? How's it been for vVv?
To be honest, I think this is actually just like an amazing, just absolutely a great accomplishment for me to be able to just starting basically my gaming career and having to be in such a humongous and very good gaming community, probably one of the best there is, that's for sure. And to just have all this stuff like the sponsorship and whatnot, and it's just been absolutely amazing, and I honestly would not want to be anywhere else.
Well, you guys are the first Gears of War team that we have fully sponsored. For those who want to know, today they signed with vVv Gaming, so it is official. They're the first contracted Gears of War team we have, where we're going to cover their full travel, hotel, entry fees, what would be considered a full sponsorship. And I can't think of four better people to fill that role. We have a long history in Gears of War, and I think we've got a lot of people who love us or hate us. Say again?
I said, whoa, contracted. Oh,
Kurt, you people rub off on me.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Oh, Jerry, I'm disappointed.
Well, you know why? I'm going to tell you why, because I really feel moving forward for us that, and I think a part of it came I think, you know what, Kurt, I'm glad you mentioned that. That's actually something I should say. When Paradise went down to Orlando and they had the conversation with Sundance and the MLG staff, I think one of the things became evident out of that conversation, that is organizations supporting leagues. And for us, I think two things had to be important. One, I really wanted to start in Gears of War, but we did StarCraft first just because of the timing. But I've always wanted to come back to Gears of War if it came on the circuit and, in a way, unequivocally support our players. So that if anybody had anything negative to say about vVv Gaming, they could aim it at me. Because generally, if the Gears of War community hates vVv, I'm quite certain it's because of me. I'm the one who puts myself out front there. And you know me, Kurt. I'm not normally someone who trolls and makes people feel horrible, but if I given the opportunity, I've been guilty of this once or twice before. But I think at the end of the day, if you were to really look at it, the vV community itself, those are some amazing community members, and I'm not sponsoring that team. vV Gaming is, and I will gladly take the hate for the team. So if you got haters out there, by all means, hate me. You feed me with your hate. So I'm going to give you guys a
Haterade.
chance to ask any last questions before we let the team go, and I'm going to start out with you, Jason, and then we're going to kind of go from there. So I know you met Monk, and Jason, going to give it to you.
Oh gosh, man, I don't know. I don't even think I have any questions. I think I just want to reiterate that this was an absolute pleasure to watch you guys. I have not had so much fun sitting in Mumble, talking with everybody, cheering you on, and just enjoying Gears of War. I mean, it was wonderful.
Let me peek back in real quick and mention something, you guys.
Mhm.
At the peak, we had 35 people in Mumble channel
We did.
watching you guys play, and it was many people referred to it as this reminds me of the old days. So I thought it was really pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was absolutely insane. The intensity, people cheering when you guys won, people wondering what we could have done differently if you guys lost a round. It was wonderful. And if we can get that same sort of atmosphere at MLG next year with some things like the intro videos like we were talking about and really give it that competitive professional feel, I mean, this is going to take off. I am so excited. And honestly, I think you guys have the skill and the capacity to take this all the way. I mean, it was incredible. So kudos to all four of you. It was just absolute pleasure to watch you this weekend.
Asylum, what do you got to say there?
Oh, I have two simple questions. One for all you guys. Are you guys going to be at any major events, i.e. MLG Providence, so people can come meet you? And number two, where can we find you guys online to follow up on what you guys are doing as far as Gears of War?
Leon, why don't you start him off?
I will not be traveling to MLB Providence, even though I want to, but I'd rather save my money for other events, that kind of thing. But you can find me on Twitter or Xbox Live, either one, vVv, space Leon or _ for Twitter. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'll be streaming as soon as I upgrade my connection. That's going to be easy. And on to you, Monk, because you're going to start streaming soon.
Yep, I should get my stream up and running here in the next day or so. Just got to get everything plugged in and uploaded and whatnot. On to Providence, it's across the country for me, so I won't be traveling to that. Got to save up those sick days for work for the Gears events. But you can find me on Xbox on vVv space monk space inc, INK, or on Twitter, vVv_monk. So then on to you, Enmity.
Hey guys, first off, you can reach me anytime, Twitter, Facebook, vVv_Enmity. I'm playing all the time. If my team's on, I'm on. And I'm always looking for people to play with, so look at my Twitter feed. I'm always asking if anybody wants to play campaign or horde. I'm a big nerd, so I'm always playing those. So, and I'm hopefully trying to get my stream up soon too, just working on getting a computer right now, and then I'll try to have that up too, so on to you, Myth.
Me and the MLG Providence side, it would be a thing if my team goes and I'd go, but if not, then I'll probably just be chilling at the house, just doing whatever, playing Xbox, whatever. But if anyone want to reach me, it's going to be vVv space tmyth for Xbox, and same way on Twitter except with an _.
All right, Kurt, you got anything you want to ask before we let the gentleman go?
No, not really, guys, but definitely good luck. I think you guys showed what you guys could do at this event, and hopefully you guys will be able to showcase it more from what we keep hearing about is MLG, so good luck.
All right, well, we're going to probably see much more of you guys as other events come up, so I want to wish you all a good night. Leon, Monk, Nick, Tim, all of you, have a good night. Take care, guys. Jason, going to you, and that's Jason Paradise. Is CaptnBarbosa still around? Wow, is CaptnBarbosa?
You sound like Gandhi.
No, you know what? That's so funny. That's like
That's Barbosa.
I know it is. I corrected myself. Hold on here.
I'm just
Right?
saying. I have to correct our caster a few times.
Anonymity.
I know. Well, funny.
I tried. I listened. I tried. I slipped him a note and everything. It just kept happening.
Well, I want CaptnBarbosa here to know that Barbarossa, by the way, is actually, if somebody actually knew what that was, that would scare me. None of you here know what it is, right?
No.
Why does that remind me of My Sharona or something? Barbarossa. I don't know.
No, it was actually the code name Operation Barbarossa. It was the code name for the German invasion of Russia during World War II. So told you it was nerdy. I told
Nerd
you.
alert.
You are
nerd
such a
alert.
nerd. Wow, you
I
just
can't
really
help
showed your
myself.
colors.
I can't help myself. I was a bit of a World War II buff, actually. So, yeah. So
Well, you
that's
were
where that
alive during
slip
that
came
time.
from. That's where that slip came from. So, what I want to know, CaptnBarbosa, what I want to know is you guys at Beyond Gaming have a lot of stuff going on. Now, for those of you that don't know, when Beyond Gaming started, I was not a fan. Tony, who runs the company, made some changes, and as we said before, I got a chance to catch back up and take a look at what was the Sunday night event you guys had. I think it was with PMS. And after that, I sent out to Aaron. I said, you know what? You guys are on the right track. You are doing good things. And since then, it's been really great. And I wanted to get a feel for, come on, Jason, what do you guys got going on? Spill me a little news here.
Well, there's this platform. We're aspiring to be like the end all tool set for gamers and online communication, competitions, anything that you can do in gaming is probably going to be supported on this site come our next redevelopment cycle, which is in the works. So anything you need to do to keep in touch with your teams, keep in touch with players, compete with other teams, go to events, like there's going to be so many tools on this site to keep gamers connected. It's going to be ridiculous. And I mean, I can't give all these details out, but it just the organization, the reason Facebook blew up, the reason Facebook blew up as a social network is because it had all those tools to keep friends connected. You're going to get that feeling after we redevelop with the third installment of the site. It's just going to be unavoidable as a tool.
Well, good. That's really good to hear. And do you feel, as someone who has been involved with Hypefestation, I saw Beyond Gaming ask today on Twitter if the community was interested in a Hypefestation too. And I'm assuming that there are some people at the organization who said, you know what, we want to do this again. Is that fair to say?
Yes, it's definitely fair to say.
And what do you see your future role? Do you want to, for now, primarily remain in the video producer role, so to speak? 'Cause, I mean, in a lot of ways, you are kind of the producer for all this. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I do. I'm the video production manager for Beyond Gaming, and before Beyond Gaming, I was always just trying to do video, like high quality video production for gamers and highlighting gamers. Like I said, rockstar status. Got to bring them up. I want people to go see these gamers.
And I want to know for this weekend, what was your favorite match?
Yeah, Jerry, I wish I could tell you I was able to enjoy the event as a spectator, but I was doing so much work. I was doing those intro shots and all this administrative work with phone call. Like, my phone was off the hook on Sunday. Like, I could not deny my phone attention because everybody was calling in. Beyond Gaming was calling in every 15 minutes, praise, and then, let's give something away and all that stuff. And other people were calling in. And it is definitely safe to say, and I'll announce this here, that this is not the first Hypefestation. And if you guys would save up some budget for January, we'd love to have your team again. And I'll leave it at that. We're going to surprise the hell out of everyone because it's going to be bigger, better, and with a better budget. We can treat everyone like we wanted to treat them for this. We were really ambitious, but we had to tone it down because of the budget. But now that people can see what we can do, we're going to keep going, and we're going to go in a bigger way.
Well, since this is fantastic, since I am sponsoring the team, here's my request. Let the community know the date so you guys know what me as an organization owner, what I think about. I think about getting them their plane tickets when it's very cost effective. So, giving us enough time to get that identified. So releasing the exact dates, hopefully by mid or end November, is fantastic, giving us time to do that. Obviously, everybody knows that after, 2 weeks before an event, airline tickets go up. And
Yep.
I know you know that. I'm just saying this out there for those that are listening. And we certainly would love to send our Gears of War team back to a Hypefestation to continue to do good work.
I'd love to have them. And once we get that information, because we're literally still cleaning up this event, and to be able to announce that right now is kind of impossible. But as soon as we know, we'll definitely send the line over to you guys. And let's get this hyped up. Let's do it.
All right, everybody. There it is. The man behind so much of what we saw this weekend. CaptnBarbosa, Jason, thank you so much. Before we let you go, where do people get a hold of you? Who do you have shout outs to? Take it away, sir.
I love using Twitter. Twitter, I try to entertain gamers. It's not just me blogging, but I'm always putting entertaining stuff. It's at CaptnBarbosa. I'll put that in chat because it's spelled weird. Big shout out to Beyond Gamer for coming through and really helping out in a big way. They were administering on the back end with those tournament brackets and keeping everyone sane in the chat and keeping things organized. Big shout out to CDN, Joey Vicious. They're here at the table with me. Another shout out to Burger Fresh, because Burger Fresh came through in a huge way and volunteered so much time to the event. And a big shout out to all those gamers that helped out. Like I said, this was a gaming event for the gamers, by the gamers. People brought Xboxes and discs and optical cords. We're still missing optical cords, but everybody pitched in, and I want to thank everyone in a big way for enjoying the event, loving the event. I definitely wanted to keep going because it was so much fun, and it was such a good, hearty gamer event that I wish I could do this every weekend. But thank you to everybody that was involved, and hopefully, we'll see you guys soon at another one. Maybe January, possibly January, definitely January.
That sounds awesome. January would be a great month for a Hypefestation. You know what? We would be amiss if we didn't also give a big shout out to Twitch TV, because I remember they.
Oh, yes. Oh, thank you, God.
Here to help.
Twitch TV, Ben Goldhaber, Fish Sticks is amazing, and those guys for having faith in us and in my work. So big shout out to them, too.
I hear them laughing in the background that you...
yeah, because I almost... Yeah.
Well, here's the truth about Twitch TV. They have never, ever once treated someone like they were too small to be given a chance. And if you have something go on, they will support it, and they will give you a chance to shine, and they did. They made sure that you were in the newsletter. You were on their homepage. I know Kevin and the whole team there, but it's just fantastic. So I think we got a lot of good players, and I think this feeds well into what Major League Gaming is doing next year. So again, big shout out to Murray, Caesar, Vicious, you. Thank you so much for this weekend, guys, all right?
You're very welcome, and I'm going to drive home back to New Jersey now. So take it easy, guys, and thanks for having me.
Have a safe trip, sir. Wow. So, yeah, we need to think about wrapping up the show at some point. But before we get there, I want to bring Jason Barbosa back on the show sometime in the future. I think we need to get Crota back, because I still want to talk more about BlizzCon, because there's a lot of stuff that happened that we haven't quite got to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we didn't even cover all the partnerships announcements and the training announcements.
Oh, you know what? Real quick, we've got Quantic Gaming, who signed their partnership with IM. We've got EG and Slayers.
Mm-hmm.
So
now,
there's a lot.
Please reiterate though. Please reiterate the
Pardon me, that EG and Slayers, I think that's what you're talking about, that EG's actually not really a full partnership the way Quantic with IM is. They're just kind of staying at the Slayers' house. Is that right?
Yeah, like as far as we understand the deal of the relationship now, you're not going to see Boxer with an EG logo on his sleeve or anything like that. It's not like the way it is with Quantic. With Quantic, they're going to be Quantic IM in North America and other events. And EG is just going to be EG, and Slayer is just going to be Slayers. It's just a training partnership. From what we understand, that might change. You never can tell, but that's what we understand now.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I'm going to be curious as we measure this down the road. We actually had our first Korean applicant recently, and I'm curious if the ROI is there for these types of partnerships, but we'll see. I mean, it might be Quantic Gaming's opportunity to land a major sponsorship, because obviously he's invested a lot of money, and you hope that if you invested that money somewhere, some partner decides to team up with you, so that would be good. And then obviously EG continues their role, and
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, I think, Huck, DeMuslim, Puma, and Idra. So four people are going to be moving into the Slayer's house for training and going to be performing in Code A and Code S. So it's big news in itself. It's just not, it's not the news maybe everyone was expecting.
No, I agree. And I mean, I think there's a lot more of that that's going to come out as time goes on. So, Jason, what do you think? Have we come to the end of our road here? Do we have any final things we want to cover?
Oh man, there's just not enough time in 2 hours. I mean, it's so weird looking back thinking that we used to do half-hour long shows and now we can't fit everything into 2 hours. Isn't it crazy, Jerry?
It's not even that I'm surprised people can stay around to listen to us babble, to be honest, sometimes. And I really do appreciate our audience being here. I mean, look, one thing that we're going to do, that we're going to keep doing, is obviously we're going to cover eSports at the highest level. Kurt's here to give us invaluable insight, but we're also going to cover the news that nobody else covers. I mean, I think we can look at the console world because we've got such a rich background in it and really cover that news because I'll be honest, what I saw this weekend, I've been very critical of the Gears of War community, and they're critical of myself back, and that's fine. When you're honest and you throw what you feel out there, you're asking people to definitely, you're not going to make friends always that way. But I will say at the end of the day that, I was really impressed with what I saw. And that's all I want to say about it. Hypefestation should be locked up as a success because despite its problems, despite complaints about casting, and I'm going to be honest, I'm not a fan of Gandhi's casting, Gandhi's a little too spastic for me. He clearly doesn't know enough. And my advice to Gandhi would be to learn more about this community, right? It's something Crota said earlier. Crota said you don't need to talk about bananas or your personal life or things to be a great caster. You need to let the game speak for itself. And we've got a long pause in between the game. That's where you talk about the players, their stories, things like that. And I felt that for Gandhi, who has some experience in Halo, obviously, where he knows a lot more, I think his transition to Gears of War is going to be a little tough. Hopefully they'll listen to this. Hopefully they will take a page out of Crota's book, out of the book of the greats of DJ Weed and Day9 and others, and let the game speak for itself. We don't necessarily want to hear about you. So I would say that was one of the big things that I would change, and hopefully this will get better. But I respect the fact that everyone at Hypefestation is very positive toward their peers. But I got to say the fan response to Gandhi was very negative overall. So I think we have to be honest there, and we have to definitely, in some way, continue to ask Gandhi to improve. And for those of you who know Gandhi personally, reach out to him. Try to get him to make those disciplined steps to learn more about the players. And we definitely have resources for that. So, Jason, talk to me.
Yeah, wow, it's about that time. I agree with everyone. I agree with everything that Jerry just said. Please, if you can reach out to Gandhi, let him know. Give him some tips because obviously, we need these faces. We say it repeatedly. We want Gears of War to grow, and likewise, on a completely different note, we want to give you guys something a little bit different. We want to get better as well. So we're going to keep continuing to cover the things that other shows do not cover, and bring you guests that we feel are important in the esports world, and maybe some faces that you wouldn't necessarily get elsewhere. So thank you so much for tuning in this week and checking out another episode of the Losers Bracket. We really appreciate everyone that's on the stream weekly. Couple shout-outs, Rocket Biz to Glory D. I mean, they're always here on the stream, so thank you guys so much. I know you guys were both wanting a shout-out. There you go. Additionally, let's give some more shout-outs. vVv sponsors SteelSeries, Gamer Grub, Control Freak, and of course a big shout-out to Power Glove. They supply the music you hear every week before and after our show. The band is amazing. Saturday Morning Apocalypse. Go pick up the CD. Thank you to the entire competitive gaming community. Your feedback and support is what keeps us going, so we definitely appreciate it. If you do have any feedback for us, you can definitely email us at thelosersbracket@vv-gaming.com or follow us over on Twitter, Losers Bracket. Tweet us anything you've got. Additionally, you can stop by our podcast homepage. The website is vvgaming.podbean.com, and you can also subscribe to us on iTunes. Just search for vVv Gaming, and that way you'll be able to download the MP3 right there too. So thank you, everybody, for coming out this week. And we're looking forward to another couple really great episodes in the coming weeks. I actually was just talking to Aaron from Beyond Gaming in the chat. Looks like we're going to be getting him on the show in a couple weeks, so that'll be a lot of fun. And we have some more guest plans, so definitely stay tuned. Asylum, got any shout-outs before we head out, sir?
Oh, I'd like to shout out the vVv Gears team again. Thank you guys so much for coming on. It was really a treat having you guys on and hearing how the team does out at an event. Again, I was immensely impressed. Shout out again to Beyond Gaming for putting on such an awesome event. And another shout out to the listeners. I know Glory D and Biscuit want shout outs, so shout out to them. They come every week. Big props to you guys. Thanks for coming out and continuing to support. And another big thanks out to vVv Gaming and the greater community.
All right, Kurt, you're up next.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Well, yeah, I'd like to thank everyone for showing up as usual. Some of the regulars, JH, Rocket Biscuit, Glory D, some of the regulars in there. For those people that that are just new to this, please come back next week. I'll be more than happy to give you a shout out. You can follow me personally at E&E Keyhunt on Twitter, or you can follow my organization Check Six at Check Six Gaming on Twitter. And yeah, hopefully we can cover some great stuff for you next week, just like we did this week. See you guys next week.
Yep, and that leaves us with Jerry. Jerry, you want to wrap the show up for us? Give us some shout-outs, and then we'll be closing out for the week.
Yeah, Glory D, you have an interview tomorrow. Be ready. For everybody else, I want to give a shout-out one more time to the crew at Hypefestation. The world is changing. You are doing great things with technology, and I think 2012 is going to be a banner year, and I'm glad that Beyond Gaming is taking its technological skills and going in the direction that it is. That's really good for everyone. I want to give a big shout out, and oddly, to Agora Games, Major League Gaming. I just recently was playing Batman, saw the logo, did a little research. I think Major League Gaming has a lot of great things going on that we don't yet know about. I think it's fantastic what they're doing with technology. And I also want to give a big shout out to what I would call the movers and the shakers. I think EG, Quantic Gaming, a lot of organizations are making big moves. And I say this before, I'll say it again. People who are investing their time, their passion, their heart, their soul into competitive gaming, like them or hate them, they deserve a very basic level of respect. Because all of these people's energy, time, and effort is what makes us able to sit back and tell them how badly they sucked. Shout out to all of them. With that, community from vVv and the greater esports community, thank you for your time. And finally, a shout out to you gentlemen for having an excellent show. It's always a pleasure.
All right, so that brings us to the end then this week. Guys, Asylum, Kurt, Jerry, thank you so much for another awesome show. Community, thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you back here next Tuesday night, same time, 9 p.m. Eastern. Until then, take care. We'll see you soon. Have a great night.